Well, good evening, everybody.
Oh.
Good evening, gentlemen. How are we?
Evening.
Not
Good
bad,
evening.
not bad.
So we've got a bit of a chilled out one this evening. We're having a beer in Paul's bar this evening. This is Paul's idea. He wanted everybody to bring a beer with you, so we've all brought our beers, and we're just going to have a little chat and a little catch up and see how everybody's coping during lockdown. So I welcome everybody to the channel. Those of you who are watching on YouTube, hello. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, hello. We have Wilbur is in the house. Lester is in the house. James Ruth is in the house. Producer Lee is in the house. And Paul, we're all in your bar. Welcome, everybody.
Before we start, James's
yes.
audio is crackly.
It's crackly, is it? So we're gonna have to do something about that at some stage. Lee,
kick him off.
Kick him.
Kick him off.
Kick him out. Kick him out of the bar.
Give him a kick.
Come on, James, sort it out. I'm kicking you.
Right, so the theme of this evening, gentlemen. Okay, so I've had we had a good question come in recently from Fraser Beach, and Fraser asked a question the other day, which was asking about our picks for the major winners for this year. This year we've got obviously starting out in the Masters, which is in April 8th to the 11th, and then we move over to the PGA Champs, which is at Keir Island, which is in May. And then we've got the US Open at Torrey Pines. And then we've got the Open Championship at Royal St. George's. So that is going to be our theme this evening. I want to get some ideas and picks from you guys as to who you think is going to be picking up those trophies. One thing I want to say, and I've just spotted it in the comments, is, and it came from Colin Muffet. Colin asked, hang on a minute, where did it go back there? Is there any spaces left for our coaching trip to Spain in November? And yes, Colin, there absolutely is. So get onto the case of that one if you want to come along for that. Right. We've also got Lee has just popped up there, the email. So if you guys want to come on this evening and ask any questions to the guys, you can email through to Lee at thursdaynightlive0@gmail.com, and Lee will invite you over and you can come onto the platform and have a chat with us. So, should we start off with the Masters, gentlemen, which is going to be played in April? Who would like to start on that one?
Let's start with James so we can test his audio, because I've muted his mic currently because I think it's a bit disturbing. So, can you go?
Cut him.
Get rid of it.
Cut him.
No, sorry,
Turn your
James.
volume up.
Your audio's pants. Next,
Right.
I haven't picked a player for each one. I've just picked 2 players for total.
Okay, well done, Wilbert. So, Paul, let's start off with you in your bar, as we're in your house this evening.
Where is it this year?
Augusta, Paul.
Oh yeah, that one. So I think Dustin's going to be the favourite, isn't he? Definitely going to.
What, for the whole year or just for this event?
We're
not talking about the FedEx Cup.
My pick would be Justin Thomas. I think if I was going to go with somebody. He finished, I think, was he 4th last year?
Yeah.
So I know he's been going through a bit of things behind the scenes, hasn't he? He was got in a bit of trouble on social media shouted something he shouldn't have said on the golf course. I think that's thrown him back a little bit.
Chip shop favourite food.
Yeah, which so I think that's knocked him sideways a little bit. But I think going forward, I think he's going to be, when he gets his act together, I think come the Masters, I think he's in with a good shout. He's a good player, and he's good when he gets in with a chance of winning. I think he's good at finishing off as well. So that would be my pick for this year.
That's your pick. Wilbur, what about your pick for the Masters? Bearing in mind you only have 2, so do you want me? Have you got it for the Masters, or have you got it?
I've gone Victor Hovland, so I think his all-round game's pretty good. I like watching him play. He's European, so he's a young European coming through, so I think it's quite good. And I look forward to seeing him in the Ryder Cup. So that's my pick.
And that's for the Masters. That you're going to see that he's going to win the Masters first out.
He hits a fade, what doesn't suit, but that's what I picked. 33.
So is he going to win 2 this year, or have you picked him for two majors, or is somebody else winning under the other 3?
DJ's winning 3. He's winning 1.
You're done.
You can go now.
Cheers, Wilbur. Lee, who have you got? Who have you got for the Masters this year?
Oh, this is the best I've ever heard him.
Is Lee actually, producer Lee has muted himself?
Yeah.
Muted himself. Okay.
That would please many, wouldn't it?
Let's no, he
He literally has muted himself.
He's muted himself. Why don't we move on to Leicester? Leicester, tell us what your pick is going to be for this year's Masters.
Because I was typing.
Do you want to go, Lee, or are we coming on to Leicester? Who would like
I'll
to
come
go?
back now. Yeah, I was typing, so I pressed mute, and then I was like, everyone's going, "You've muted yourself." I'm like, "No, I've not." DJ for the Masters. I think it's too close to the last one. I think he'll do well around there.
Yeah.
US Open. I think Bryson will win.
I don't know. We're doing one, aren't we? One at a time, isn't it?
Just the Masters, eh? Just the Masters.
Just the DJ.
I'm just trying to get some control in the six of you.
I think,
okay.
DJ. Next.
DJ, Bernie, who have we got?
Imagine being the teacher trying to control us lot. So I'm going for Rory, just because it'd be like sentimental for him to win it, and then he's got all four. So Rory McIlroy for me.
Rory McIlroy. So for me, yeah. I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth, because if there was an opportunity for him to bounce back, it would be at this event. If we go through his record at the Masters, 2014 second, then he won it in 15, second in 16, 11th in 17, then in 18 he was third, and then he's dropped the ball a little bit in the last couple of years. But with him bouncing back, and I think he's getting a lot of media attention now, which he's getting a little bit more comfortable with in the last sort of few events. I could just see him bouncing back, and the Masters would be that venue for him, I think. Absolutely.
Right,
Are we testing James? Are we testing James?
Speak, James. No.
Stick your iPad in charge.
Why is he recording it in an airport?
Yeah.
It's literally like watching a Bruce Lee movie, isn't it?
Brilliant.
Maybe we get him to hold up some signs or something.
Yeah. Maybe he can write it.
Can you write it down?
It's
gone.
He's gone.
He's gone. Bye, James.
What I will say, what I will say on my as Fraser is actually has responded to my comment. It's not because I'm a Titleist guy and Jordan Spieth is a Titleist guy, and it's not down to the brand loyalty of the fact that. But I'd just like to see him come back. So right, we had some questions come in, didn't we, Lee? We had some questions come in from my Instagram platform. Yeah.
Yeah, we did, but I'm going to do a little bit of a cheap plug before we start. So I've noticed this comment come up.
Go on then.
About details for his prostate cancer merch. If anybody wants to contact Leicester, then that's his email address there.
Perfect. I've got some of these shirts as well. What's that side?
Yeah, you get them that side. There it is.
It's back to front. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of merch available. If anybody wants anything, the t-shirts that I produced. There will be a donation, whatever the profit is, that goes directly to Prostate UK, Cancer UK charity. So,
well done, Bernie. Very good.
And that email address is down there. It'll stay there for about a minute.
Yeah, there you go. So Leicester_Barnes@hotmail.com. So So jump on that one.
Before we move on to questions,
yes.
James is out.
Hi.
No.
That's back.
Try it without the headphones in.
James,
Cornwall.
Just write down who you think's going to win the Masters and just hold it up.
Yeah.
All right.
Ugly hands.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
That's without the headphones in.
Yeah.
Well, then you've got some dodgy headphones there, James. I think.
Right. Okay.
Try these. Get the AirPods. Get them. They're pretty good. All right.
I can't afford
the question is, who's going to win the Ryder Cup?
To win the Ryder Cup. America, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Thanks for your input.
First time I've put that in years.
Okay, James.
It's finished now. We're done.
James, welcome to the Thursday Night Live. Who is going to be your pick for the Masters this year?
Colin Morikawa.
Okay.
I think his iron play is so good, and he's starting to putt a bit better. his putting was letting him down, but I think you've got to be a good putter to win the Masters, and he's putting pretty well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's not a bad shout, to be fair. He's been doing quite well recently, hasn't he? And he won last week, yeah. He's found some form. Right, so what have we got then, Lee? Fire us up.
So first question is, can Bryson drive the sixth at Bay Hill? And if yes, is it a good or bad thing for golf?
Right, so this was on social media, wasn't it? Recently, the last couple of days, he's been trying to go. Is it the sixth hole was the par 5 that goes right the way around the lake, so it's a massive dog leg, and the idea is that you play around it. Didn't if I remember rightly, John Daly was trying to go. I think he was trying to skip it across at one stage, wasn't he?
Yeah, he had a go once, didn't he? Did he hit the rocks or something, just short? Or I think he got pretty close.
He made an 18. It didn't end well for him.
Did he?
He made an 18, yeah.
So the question is, obviously, can he do it? Number one, I don't know what the carry is. What is the carry?
340, isn't it?
Is it?
I think so, yeah.
It's a 340 carry, is it?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. It was into wind and he was going for it, and he was coming up a bit short, so with no wind, he'll probably get there.
Right. Well, what do we think? What do you think? Is that a positive thing? I mean, he's got to rip it, hasn't he? He's got to. If he mishits it slightly,
there's pros.
He's
and
got
cons.
it wrong, hasn't he? Yeah.
Pros and cons, just like a dog leg. If you're looking to get aggressive over the corner and you don't quite get it, and you're in the trouble, but if it goes off correctly, you've got like a flick of a wedge in instead of a 7-iron.
Nobody complained when Happy Gilmore was hitting it that far, did they? So...
No, they weren't, Bernie. You're absolutely right. They weren't. In fact, they were celebrating it, weren't they?
The thing is, though,
20 years.
It should be like celebrated people hitting it further and doing things like that, because golf can be one of the most boring sports in the world to watch on TV. It's like cricket. Whereas if you've got someone taking on things that you don't see all the time, it just makes it interesting. And you need to make golf interesting to get more people into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think.
I think if he does it, there'll be a fence there next year.
True.
They'll just move the tee. If he does it, they'll move the tee. Surely.
I've actually been there and I've watched it, the event there, and I always thought you can actually hit backwards over to another hole. This is what I would do. I Google mapped it, and you could hit it back onto this other hole, and then you've only got like a little flick of a wedge in. But I don't know whether it's out of bounds or what. But that's what. Well,
you've got to go past the tee box, Paul. You can't just turn around.
You can't go
backwards. You do have to go beyond the tee box to get going on that hole. You know.
Every time I go somewhere near Paul and he's got his Google Maps out, he's looking to go down other holes, maybe over.
Yeah.
Always shortcuts.
There's always a shortcut. It's not always down that hole, is it, with Paul?
No, it doesn't have to be.
There are lots of other holes. As we saw at China Fleet on that part 5, whatever that hole, 13 or something.
Yeah.
Down the left-hand side. Yeah. I don't think if at the end of the day, if he's strong enough to get it across there, I mean, people are commenting saying that Rory McIlroy's knocked it 15 yards past him today on some what looks like some regular shots. So, I'm sure if Bryson can get it there, I'm sure Rory could have it. I mean, I'm sure Tiger could have got it there back in the day if the wind was slightly assisted. Mm-hmm. But it's just whether you've got the courage to go for it. I don't know what's behind that green. If they went for it, I don't know if they got problems.
A couple of bunkers there and a bit of rough.
But I mean, I'm assuming at 340, he's kind of maxing out at 340, is he? Like that's kind of where he's at. If he really, what I'm saying, if he doesn't quite catch it, or he catches it a bit spinny, like he said in one of the videos, they said if he catches it a bit spinny, it's not getting there, is it?
No.
And then
when you're playing 3 off the tee, aren't you? If you don't make it.
Yeah, nowhere to drop, is there? So.
At the end of the day, do I think it's a bad thing for golf? Not really. I think it will be quite entertaining to watch him do it. I mean, it was entertaining enough that we all remember when John Daly had a pop at it, and even James remembers that he made an 18. I mean, it's entertaining enough that it sits in our memories. So it's not necessarily a bad thing. Okay, moving on.
Guest time.
Yes.
Yeah. We've got Graham coming on. He's been on before, and he's on again. Here's Graham.
Hello. Can everyone hear me?
Hi, Graham.
Good evening, Graham.
Hi, James. Thanks for having me on again. And Will, where are you? I can hardly see anything of you anymore.
Yeah, I've lost a little bit.
Yeah.
Timber gone.
Looking really good.
Look, carry on. Sorry,
go on.
I said I'm 2 pounds off of 3 stone now. So.
Oh, Wilbur.
That is impressive. How long has that taken you?
Just over 6 weeks.
That's amazing.
The most impressive part is that he's done it whilst delivering donuts to people as well.
and the boxes are still
really impressive.
Well, he has actually just recently quit that job. He's now delivering pizzas. So
what's worse?
What is worse?
A question I had, and it's not really sort of make it about Patrick Reed as such, but I know he's been controversial for a while and a few things go on, particularly at the recent Farmers Open. But does something like the things that he sometimes does on the court, does that feed back through the game? And you see that through youth players and amateur players and players in tournaments doing things that perhaps are questionable. Does that go back in people coming up through the game? Do you see those behaviours come up again?
I'll leave this to someone.
I better not comment on this one.
I mean, I think probably if we all go back through our experiences of playing golf, certainly as junior golf and things like that, I think we've all probably witnessed something going on in that sort of thing. And I think if I've certainly seen a couple of experiences where they've gone a bit beyond just that, been called out and actually had to be dealt with by the union or the county or whatever it had to be dealt with. But I think you have to go back. I think obviously we have to go deeper and find out what has caused it. And a lot of it can be caused by expectation levels of what those kids expect, their parents expect of them or their peers, it's hard. And I think that, once you've kind of done it once, and you get away with it, is it easy to carry on and keep doing it? I don't. It's difficult to say. I mean, it's golf. I think golf is an amazing sport, and we, if you think about the amount of kids that come through it, and it teaches you life skills so much. That's one of the biggest things that we sort of have probably taken from this game is the life skills that it's taught us. But can you get it out of kids from that age and when they work up through? I don't know. It's hard to.
Yeah, it's just I wonder whether sort of seeing that behaviour, it's gone unpunished in a tournament, and the guy's gone on to win the event, and he was the best player in that event. But does it then send a message to the 10 and 11-year-old kid to think, well, perhaps I can get away with this when they've spent their time learning to play the game and not do anything like that? If they see a top pro win a tournament and take hundreds of thousands, if not millions, in prize money, then you're kind of putting an expectation that, well, it's worth a go, it's worth a try on your way up. Because if a top player doesn't get punished for it, then I'm certainly not. If they're going up through the youth game,
I don't know. I mean, I think that it's quite from what I've seen is when you get into the media and you hear what the media have to say about it, they don't let it go. They will talk about it in detail and want to talk about it. It's a story at the end of the day. And hopefully the kids see that side of it, rather than I don't know if anyone else has got anything to say on it, but yeah, I just, it's a difficult one. Whichever sport you go into, you're going to find it, whatever happens, at whatever level, it's always out there. And it's, and in some ways, the great thing about golf is it's policed, it's self-policed. We police it ourselves as players, which I think is obviously important, but hopefully not too much of it. Hopefully not.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, good to see. All right, I'll leave you to get on with the show. I just must say thank you to Lester for all the Sunday show merchandise. And he also sent me a very nice golf ball, which has taken pride of place with your initials on it, Lester. It's in the downstairs.
It's a little mince ball.
Yeah, it's a little mince
Lovely.
ball.
Lovely.
Pride of place in the toilet.
Lovely. Yeah.
The toilet.
Brilliant, Graham. Thank you very much, mate.
Cheers, Graham.
Nice to see you. You take care.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Cheers now. Right, we move on to the PGA Championships, okay, which will be played this year in May at Kier Island. James, let's start with you. Who's winning at Kier Island in the PGA Championships?
Yeah, I think it's pretty generous off the tee. I'm going to go with Brooks Koepka around there.
Have you played Kier Island, James? Have you been there?
No, I haven't. No, I remember seeing Rory win round there. I think 2012. He sort of took it apart, but it can get quite windy around there. Yeah, I just fancy it's quite generous off the tee. Yeah, I really fancy Brooks Koepka around there. The way he's playing at the moment as well.
Producer Lee, who do you think?
I think Rory will win there. If it's open, he'll just bomb it and tear the place apart.
I'd say Rory's a decent wind player, isn't he? I mean, he's grown up in that environment, playing obviously, and
yeah, he grew up in Northern Ireland on a links course, didn't he? So he's used to playing.
I don't know. Was is it a links course he grew up on? Don't know if
Hollywood.
Not sure.
I'm not sure if it's a links course. I've never played it, but okay, Paul, who have you got?
I'm going to go Rory as well. He won it by 8 when it was there last time, so you struggle to look past him really, especially his sort of golf course as well. So I'm going to go Rory as well for that.
Yeah, well, I'm going to say that I've got Rory written down as well. I mean, but to win it by 8 shots the way he won it back in 2012, I think he obviously feels good round there, and Rory being such a confidence player, he's going to stand up there and be confident that he's that he can score well and dominate, because that's what he did in 2012, and he dominated the event, and I think he will excel when he gets there. Really, Wilbur, who have you got?
DJ.
Sorry,
To be honest, I can see him finishing like top 5 in every major. He's been so consistent past year, and this year so far, that I can just see him dominating the old season, really.
Yeah. And Bernie, who you've got to come out with someone. Come on, who have you got? It can't be Rory or DJ.
No, I was going to go DJ. To be fair, wasn't it where like the Ryder Cup was played, where they like the Americans got like war, wasn't it? War on the shore or something.
Langer, about 4 feet.
So I reckon.
Langer.
Yeah, I reckon they'll all dress up and stuff, and maybe pay a little bit of thing to that. Maybe get the army clothes on and stuff. I know.
Who's
I'm going DJ. Rory Sabatini did it one year, didn't he?
What? Went camo.
Went camo around one of them. Yeah. So.
Well, to be fair, this year, I mean, FootJoy they've got a release of some camo gear, so there might be some of that going out there. Yeah, absolutely right. Right, Lee. What else have we got there?
Got a guest.
Oh, we've got guests.
So welcome to
Holly. By the way, Hollywood Golf Club is not a links course. It is a Parkland course.
Oh,
Kyle, how are you?
How we doing, guys? You all right?
Yeah, nice to see you. How's it going?
Yeah, getting through this lockdown, which is a struggle for everybody. But
yeah, it is, mate. Yeah, it's not easy. Not easy. So, what have you got for us, Kyle?
So, I was just going to ask you guys, what's your opinion on the whole Tiger Woods incident with his crash, and like, how do you think he's going to recover from it?
I've not seen, if I'm honest, I've not seen a great deal of media. I haven't seen a great deal certainly UK. I haven't seen a great deal of media attention on it as to how he's getting on. I've spotted a little bit on social media, and only those are only statements from the family, I suppose. But I don't know. Wilbur, you said something, didn't you? You said because of his ankle?
Didn't he have an operation? Didn't he?
On his ankle, and the ankle is not great. It's not a great place to start breaking things in the ankle.
Especially when he had a bad back as well. So having that on top of it's going to be a lot of pressure on those 2 bits. And
that was it. Yeah. He had his 5th back operation, didn't he, a couple of weeks before? So
yeah,
I don't think that crash would have done it any good, to be fair.
No.
So
did he not have a knee operation as well? Like I'm saying, a good 10 years ago now.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
That's why he won that tournament off of one leg. Was it the Open that he won off one leg?
Torrey Pines.
Torrey Pines US Open.
Torrey Pines, yeah.
I think it's like, I think with the ages, what's he, 43?
45 years.
So it's like, he's only human at the end of the day, and a lot of people need to remember that. It's like, that's not going to be easy to recovery for him.
No.
I think it must have been serious with everyone doing like the red T-shirts on the Sunday. This obviously means something serious has happened, so hopefully he recovers anyway.
Oh, definitely.
Did he fall asleep at the wheel or something? Because like he did an
It's
interview
well,
on
I've
TV.
seen a lot of things where basically there wasn't actually any tired marks on the road, so it's like something's wrong with his brakes, and I feel like he's just went straight off and just went down the bank.
I saw that he hit the curb on the left and went straight across the road, but it was a dangerous bit of road.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd have like a driver, wouldn't you? Because he's had a few like car incidents before, so you'd think like the amount of money he's got, he'd have like a driver and just phone, if he wants to go out or something, I'd phone a driver and get him to drive. Like I don't.
No.
Well, I mean, it actually it's interesting. It looked like a courtesy car because it had some printing on the side of the car. So I don't know. Was it a tournament car? Was it?
Yeah, it was Tory Pines thing, I think.
Was it?
Yeah,
right.
Tory
Pines, he was on telly not like a few days beforehand, and like the only polite way of putting this is he looked like he was medicated.
Yeah.
So and then he fell asleep at the wheel. You know, if has he been on medication for his injuries and made a bad decision in driving?
Oh, that happened a few years ago, didn't it?
They come out and said he had no drugs in the system this time.
Yeah, I read he was getting a bit friendly with Donald Trump and somebody tried to bump him off. Somebody put that online.
And you read it, James, and you read it, the whole story.
That sounds better.
I think if there's anybody that's gonna work, like seriously want to come back from this is Tiger Woods. I mean, what we said it on the Sunday show last week, I think, was it Lester? Me and you, we were talking about it where they were sort of the media had jumped on this with the Ben Hogan situation, which was obviously the situation that Ben Hogan went through was the head-on collision with a bus, I think, back in the day, but in the 60s, and came back and if anyone's going to fight for that, it's Tiger would fight absolutely. But let's hope so. Let's hope he does. I think I think everyone would like to see that happen. If
definitely.
So
even him teeing it up again would be something, wouldn't it?
Even if he doesn't win anything, that's the thing. As long as if he can get around a golf course around 18 holes, he's laughing, because that's a massive achievement to anyone's eyes if he can do that still. Recovering from such a horrible incident. So yeah, absolutely. And like I think someone said that Hogan, I think, was possibly a little bit younger. He was in his 30s. He was in his 30s when he done that. Yeah, I think so. So
had a bit more, possibly a bit more time to get recovery from it a bit, to win things. But well, hopefully Kyle he'll bounce back, because I think we all want to see him come back and at least tee it up again. Get involved a bit more, and hopefully, and also with his son coming through and watching him play in that father-son thing with him was fantastic. And
it was good to
maybe he'll get behind him a little bit and push him forward.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with his kids, they've been really brought up for these tough times really until he won the Masters. So you don't really go back to that stage again, seeing him struggling and just not doing what he wants to do. So
absolutely. Absolutely right. Yeah, right. Well, Carl, thank you very much for coming on, mate. Nice to see you.
My pleasure.
Enjoy your beer.
Nice. We'll
see
do
you
it.
later on.
Cheers,
guys.
mate.
Take care.
Cheers.
Bye. Right, Lee.
Right, well.
Was there another question? Was there another question coming in?
Yeah, this one's for Wilbur. He's on there somewhere. So what's your goals and expectations for the Euro Pro Tour?
I don't know, tricky one. With obviously this Corona going on, it's tough if the actual season's going to go ahead, I think. But if I do get a full season, I think for the first year, I think it's making more cuts than I miss. I think that's a big thing. And the more cuts I make, it's like the more money that's going to go towards the next event. It's obviously quite an expensive year. So if I can fund that year from the first year, I'll be quite happy breaking even.
So I read this question, and it's an interesting one to think about, and I'm going to throw this over to. Well, I was going to throw it over to James, but I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to pop it over to Paul.
How hard is it to just put a phone up and talk?
So I will. James, can you hear me, or are you frozen there? Yeah, James is back.
It sounds like it's fallen into water.
Paul.
I like this. I like this version of James.
Talk to me a little bit about what going back to your first year on the Euro Pro Tour, and What were your kind of expectations, should we say, going into that first season?
It's a top heavy tour really for money wise. Obviously, it's £10,000 or £12,000 for first place, I think.
Yeah.
But I worked it out that you needed to finish 15th or better to break even for what it costs you to play in it. By the time you did entry fees, traveling, accommodation, blah blah blah, you need to finish 15th out of 160 to 165 people that are playing pros.
Yeah.
So it's not a tour you would play to make money. It's a tour you play to get experience and try and progress further on. Definitely
get on and get off.
Finish in the top 5 and get into the challenge tour.
Yeah,
that's the plan. But
I think
I don't think it's going to happen in the first year. I think it's a couple years. I think the first year is mainly experience, and if I can get a couple of good results, that's key.
Yeah.
What was your best finish on the Europro, Paul?
Third, I think.
Yeah.
That was when Dan was caddying, actually.
So you would have finished first then.
Bobby Castle, yeah, well, yeah.
Bobby Castle.
Bobby Castle, yeah, you should have, yeah. That was a good event. That was a really good event. And the reason why I was going to ask, and he's back. The reason I was going to ask, the reason I was going to ask James, and I wasn't necessarily focusing on the Europro tour with James. I was focusing on the EPD tour, which is the German tour that you went and played on, and you won it. You got your challenge tour card off the back of that. And did you win it your first year out, or did you win it your second year? Was it your first year in that you won it, or
second year? I got tendonitis with 6 events to go first year. Missed a couple
right?
of events
But you were doing really well in the first year, weren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Missed my challenge tour card by €49 in the end.
Right, lovely. That probably went down well. I mean, you could have given him €49, James.
Yeah,
I'll give you 50.
Try that.
So going in, because obviously the EPD tour, I mean, it took you out of your comfort zone of traveling, not obviously through the UK, which is what you would have done a lot more of in your amateur days, but then to go to obviously onto the continent and start traveling around there. What was your goal? How did you set that up as a goal when you kicked off on the EPD tour?
It was tough. I just sort of come out of amateur golf. I didn't really know what to expect. And then I think I won my second week.
Yeah.
As a pro, so that just sort of changed everything really. I think I missed the cut the first week. Had my dad's friend Roger Thorpe caddy the second week, or maybe the first. I went down to Mosa Trajectum and kind of won out of the blue. Beat Lewitton down the stretch, having sort of went out in 30 and then hung on after sort of shitting myself, excuse the language, on the back 9.
Yeah.
Kick him.
Yeah.
Are we after 9 o'clock? Is it?
I was the only best words I could think of. And then, the season was away then, but, there was no sort of sat-nav back in those days. I was printing off AA route planners, driving to sort of places in Germany at 11 o'clock at night and then trying to find directions to the hotel from there. So
how old are you? No sat-nav? Christ. Jeez. Late 50s?
Not that I could afford it anyway. You couldn't get a mobile phone back then, that's for sure.
So what we're saying then from both of your, let's say, your experiences, it's more you kind of you don't necessarily set yourself goals out the bat, should we say? You see how the season develops, and then you can start establishing yourself some goals from there. Is that kind of, would that be fair, or is it just each tournament to each tournament to each tournament, and just the goals are to do as well as you possibly can from tournament to tournament? Is that what it's about?
Yeah, I think so. Like the second year, having played quite well the first year, I went out with big expectations and I got off to a really, really average start. Got in contention a couple of times, had bad final rounds, then started to question myself. And then kind of almost when I decided to not care anymore, I suddenly had, 3 good weeks and then I was away. But I think if you put expectations there and, almost expect too much, sometimes it can be, damaging.
What made you go like into Europe to play rather than playing Europro?
Just because I was lucky enough to have a company sponsoring me at the time, and I thought, if I'm going to start playing Challenge Tour and bigger events, I'd rather get used to the travelling than just playing the Europro courses over here. and just to play courses in I think they played in Hungary, Germany, Czech Republic, everywhere.
Yeah, I think I'm just sorry. I was having a giggle with this little comment down here. What is Leicester's expecting to do on the bus tour this year? So how many from Wayne Taylor? How many points are you expecting in the bag this year, then, Bernie?
Not many. Single figures, maybe a handful or less.
You're looking for a good partner, aren't you?
There's not
I've
one
been
good.
sacked.
There's not one good enough to win with me, I don't think.
No, I'm sure there is. I think when it comes down, coming back to that question with Wilbur, I think the other thing with it as well is you have to find a comfort zone. So when you get out onto that tour, you start to see the people that you're playing with. You play a little bit more with the better players or whatever that you expect to be better players as such, and then you start to get some happy ground. You get a place where you feel a bit more comfortable in that environment. I think it's always difficult to go up to that level and then press on so early. Does that make sense? I explain that all right? So it's just finding his feet with the actual tour and the people around him and how the tour works. I think it's an important experience to get.
I
for
think
sure.
The first year is always the most difficult as well. Because,
first year.
Because a lot of the courses are repeat courses. They play them every year. So a lot of the guys are going to have experience around there.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you're turning up, never played the course before, it's going to be a bigger learning curve, for that first year. So I think the first year is always more difficult.
And with that in mind, then, Paul, your advice to Will, would that be try and hook up with some players? Because obviously, you generally hook up with players that you play lots of practice rounds with. But would it be better for him to? And I think about what's his name, Curtis, who won around St George's in the British Open. Ben Curtis. Mm-hmm. He went a week earlier. He spent the whole week going out to dinner with the head pro. And going around the golf course with him at Royal St George's to get an idea of how to win around that event. Would you say that it's the best thing to do for Will is to find players who've got some experience on the tour that have been to those venues, and then he could play practice rounds with those guys? Is that probably more important, or is it find people you enjoy playing golf with for your practice rounds?
I would play maybe more practice rounds, so I'd probably go and play 2 if I was playing a golf course I didn't know. That for sure. And playing with people who've played the course, definitely, and have played the tournament. I'd try and flag down the guy who won it last year. Go play with him, really.
Yeah. He's probably not on that tour anymore.
No, probably not. So, or the guy who finished second, But yeah, that's what I'd be looking to do. I'd certainly maybe look at doing 2 practice rounds. If you're only planning on doing 1, if you could get 2, then that's definitely going to help you.
Yeah. There you go, Wilbur. Good question though. Good question. One of which, there is always, you always try and plan, but actually when it comes to first year out, it's not quite that easy sometimes.
No, it's definitely not.
Finding your feet is the key.
My biggest bit of advice was just find good people to hang around with in the evening, because if you're sort of spending a lot of time with people that are struggling, it becomes very negative, and it can easily get down on yourself. So, try and hang around with the guys that, even if they're playing badly, they're still enjoying themselves out in the evening and they're not dwelling on their
not too much
bad
play.
Don't get me started, Christ. I wouldn't make the first tee.
Right, that leads us on then.
We've got a guest. We've got a guest.
Oh, we've got a guest. Sorry,
guest.
let's have a guest. Let's have a guest.
Got a guest first before you get led on. It's Dean. Hi, Dean.
Evening,
Dean.
guys. How you doing?
Good evening. Good evening, sir. How are you?
Yes, not so bad.
Have you got a drink? Are you having a drink with us? What have you got there?
Some red wine, which is just run out.
Oh, is that empty?
Deary me, that is empty. You getting that topped up there, Dean? Oh, lovely. There we go. Good lad.
Sainsbury's special.
Whatever works, Bernie. Whatever works. How are you, Dean? Anyway.
Yeah, very good. To be fair, busy day. I'm a joiner, so I've.
How are you? So you just cracked on, haven't you? Cracked on working with things.
Yeah, most of the time. To be fair, it's hard though. I've got 3 kids at home, so I'm homeschooling and the rest of the time. So it's hard. It is.
Well, hopefully on Monday, isn't it? Monday they all go back. So
yeah,
you'll be
I
able
think
to.
the 8th have been talking to get them all back to school. So
Yeah.
hopefully they
So
should
you
be-
save that red wine for Monday, all right?
So I've got a question for you lads. I know you've all done what's in the bags this week and over the last few weeks, but I just wonder what drivers you all playing this season, because I've trekked myself to one this season myself. So
You have. What have you gone for, Dean?
I've done the nasty deal and got a PXG.
Okay. And I've got a question then for you. What made you go for PXG? Was it you like the look of it? What's it?
I've never tried one. I mean, I've been in trade a long time. I used to be assistant pro back in the 90s.
Oh wow,
90s.
yeah.
And I've played just about everything from then on, but I've just got a little bit of a stalemate. I think they've reached the cap where the distance-wise they can't really go any further. So I've been trialing Titleists and Callaways and everything, but just hit a little bit of a stalemate. So I thought, well, I've never had a PXG. They all go mental for them, and I thought, well, let's give them a try. So
yeah.
I bought.
And did you get
your wife went
fitted?
mental?
Yeah. Did you get fitted for that, Dean, or is that something you just know what you want?
To be fair, I've done it that long now. I know my own specs. I picked one with the. I went for the Project X shaft in there, but I've actually fitted a Tensai orange shaft into there myself. I've put a fitting on, and I'm just desperate to play now, like probably the rest of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's so
right then, boys.
I wonder what lads we're going to be putting in the bag this season.
Right, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold fire on Lester and Lee right now with driver just at the minute. So, James, you've made a recent update to your driver, haven't you?
Yes. TSI 3 Titleist. Yeah, I've only played on the course with it once so far since I got it, so I'm looking forward to getting that back out.
Looks lovely. The
Okay.
TSI. Yeah,
Quite nice. And just on the TSI 3, are you would you say you're a high spinner or a low spinner, James, when it comes to driver? Like would TS, the old TS4, would the TSI 4 be more what you were kind of looking at as a slightly smaller head, or do you prefer the bigger head of the 460 head? The reason I'm asking that is because I've just edited my video on the TSI 4 driver, which I've just about to come out.
Not even heard of that one, to be honest with you.
It's the low spin model. It's the lower spinning model. Weight push forward, like the Sub-Zero in Callaway would make that. M1 TaylorMade. You're used to that, so.
Okay, yeah.
Are you more of an you were M2, weren't you? So you were the higher.
Yeah,
you prefer the slightly higher spinner.
The M1 I just found wasn't quite as forgiving, so
yeah.
I found like it went a bit further, but the sort of wider shots were unfortunately wider. So
yeah, for sure. Paul, let's come to you on driver.
Well, I got a bit of a problem because both of my drivers have disappeared. Can you...
Bernie, have you not given that driver back yet?
No, not yet.
Well,
yeah.
So I'm just going to be using a 3-wood, I think, this year. So I am experimenting with the 48-inch shaft.
Haven't they banned that?
Well, not yet. So I'm going to get a few months out of it anyway. But I found that when I put the shaft in, that in my M2 head, it would go off to the right, obviously because it's longer, it's different swing weight, etc., etc. So I then tried my sim driver head, which I always struggled with going left in a normal shaft, and that is now straightening up. So if I'm going with the longer shaft, I'll be using the sim driver, the old sim, the sim 1, and if I go back to the normal shaft, I'll use my M2 again because that just comes out with the best numbers. It's not worth changing really.
Right. Have we just lost Dean, by the way? Is Dean
I think he's coming back.
Gone for another bottle of red.
When he comes back, it better be topped up. That's all I can say.
He's loaded up. There he is. He's back.
Have I got to repeat
there
that
he is.
again? Have I?
No.
Dean, did you hear all of that? Did you hear all that, Dean? You understood what he was saying?
To be fair, I didn't. I had the volume on the telly turned down, so I missed it all. I lost the stream.
You didn't miss much.
You didn't miss much. It was basically Paul is carrying on using the M2 for this year.
If it gets returned back to me.
Yeah, well,
I
saw the video on the M2.
Yeah, you saw the video on the M2, yeah.
Give me a chance to charge the glass anyway. Cheers, boys.
There you go. That's what we're talking about. Right, we're not going to come to Wilbur because I don't want to give anything away with Wilbur because there is something. He's gone again.
No.
He'll be back. I don't want to talk about Wilbur's driver because there is some news coming out about Wilbur's driver, and we're not. I don't want it to come out yet, Will. So we'll talk about that another time.
We're experimenting at the minute.
In a video. Lee, where are you with driver? What's going on? Because I saw a video come out this evening of a head-to-head again.
Yeah, welcome back, Dean.
Right, Dean.
He's playing the okey cokey, isn't he? In, out, in, out.
Lee.
Right, driver, where am I? Well, I'm testing them all, but I think if it's a normal course vlog or a normal round of golf, the Cleveland HB Launcher Turbo is the driver I'll be choosing.
So that's your scoring club.
Unless something out there completely wows me, I'm yet to properly test the Ping G425. But if that doesn't wow me, I think it's going to be the Cleveland. If we're on a 59, it's the Epic Max LS. I tested that today, and it is a weapon. Hang on
a minute. You did a video recently where the TSI 3 was the best thing you'd ever hit.
Yeah, but that's
not even hit the shortlist.
That was last week.
That was last week. I had the Epic Max LS turn up, and that thing is a weapon.
Too much choice. Bernie, what are you going for? What have you put in the bag?
I can't comment.
I'm not doing another what's in the bag with you.
It's already changed since that video.
Do it every week.
Yeah. No, I've currently got Will's M2. He knows about it, so it's not like a revelation or anything.
Well, and Paul's M2.
Yeah. I've got my M2 as well.
Oh, here's something for the stream. Watch this. There's two Deans.
And then for me, I am not going to be moving out of the TSI 3 this year. No way. That's I love that driver. Really, really good. So I think that other than Wilbur's, we're not talking about it. That pretty much answers that question for you, Dean. Thank you very much for coming on, mate.
Cheers.
I think he's had a few too many.
Just like to say a big congratulations to Lee for getting the studio set up as well.
Yeah, it looks great, doesn't it? Absolutely fantastic. Yeah, it looks fantastic.
So a big congratulations to
Right,
good luck, guys.
Cheers. Cheers, Dean.
Cheers.
Take care. Cheers, mate. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye now.
I like this. I like this comment. Lee tested that tap driver 10 trees ago.
Very good. Very good. Right, I'm gonna move us on to the US Open, which is going to be played in June, and it's going to be at Torrey Pines. So, Wilbur, go for it. DJ. Done. Lee, producer Lee, tell me who we got.
If Will bets DJ on all 5 majors, he's bound to cash in on one, isn't he?
5?
Yeah.
5?
4, 5.
They've added a new one.
Bernie's bus tour.
Yeah. Invited on the tour. I think Bryson will win the US Open.
Bryson, back to back, yeah?
Yeah.
Going back to back. James, who you got?
John Rahm.
Oh,
You can pick the same, Paul. It's all right.
Get out of it.
I'm going with John Rahm as well. I've got John Rahm. I've got John Rahm. He won in 2017 round there.
Yeah.
He was runner-up in 2020 around Torrey Pines.
Yeah.
But he's got new equipment.
Is what?
But he has got new equipment.
Yeah, but he's got till June to figure that out. He'll be fine. New equipment, new deal, but it takes a bit of time to bed in that new kit, but he'll be fine by then. Who else? Bernie, have you answered that?
No, I'm going Brooks because he likes winning the US Open.
Yeah, he does. He's not bad at the US Open, is he?
No, he likes the US Open. So.
Good shout, Bernie.
He can have that one.
Right.
What about another question? Who's winning the footy match later? Liverpool or Chelsea?
Oh.
Who cares? Not.
Oh, bit rude.
Where is it?
Anfield.
Liverpool.
Oh, Fulham had just scored against Tottenham, Paul.
Shush. I don't want to know.
Right, Lee. What else? Lee, what else have we got there?
So while we're on who's going to win, let's go quite recent. Who's winning the Players? Who do we think is going to win the Players? I think Rory will win it.
Again, he won it. Didn't he win it last year?
Yeah,
he did.
There's too much. There's too much golf on this channel.
Who won it last year, James?
He got cancelled last year.
Okay, the year before he won it. He won it. Yeah. He just kept the trophy. He just kept the trophy.
Rory, yeah.
So Rory is current.
Dustin
Wilbur, Dustin.
Myself.
This is what the players call this the fifth major, don't they? But,
Yeah.
DJ.
See.
I'm going Scotty Scheffler.
I've not even heard of half these people. I'm sure he's making them up.
Number 34 in the world, he's due a win.
Is he? Right.
Right, I'm going to follow what Barry Emery has just said, and it's going to be Tommy Fleetwood round the Players.
No, he won't win.
Sawgrass. Yeah. No, just DJ all year. Is it?
DJ.
Just DJ.
It's been disallowed.
Oh. So yeah, Barry spot on. Yeah, well, Neil could be right as well. Paul, who have you got for the Players?
Xander. I'm going to go Xander.
Bernie, you've heard of him?
Yeah. He does it.
Right, Bernie, who have you got?
I'm going to go Justin Rose.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, I like Justin.
Yeah.
Nice bloke.
You've met him. Bernie, you've met him. You've met him.
Yeah, we're like mates. Right.
Bernie met him, right? Bernie met him on a stage, right?
I did, yeah.
For the National Lottery. National Lottery.
That's true. I was on the National Lottery.
He was on the National Lottery show back in 1994, and Justin Rose was on there. Justin Rose had just turned pro or just done really well at the British Open that year, didn't he?
Yeah.
And what about he done?
But
I think I'd won the Chelsea Open handicap section.
So yeah, you and Rosie are like this, aren't you, Bernie?
Yeah. I'm sure he remembers it if you asked him.
Yeah. In fact, James, have you played with Justin Rose? Paul, you've played with Justin Rose, haven't you?
Yeah, I played with him once.
You played with him, yeah. You never played with him. Well, I suppose you're a bit younger than him, aren't you?
Yeah.
During the England stuff.
Only
Just, yeah. Lee, who's winning the Players? Who have you got for the Players?
Rory.
Rory.
Go, Rory.
Right. What else have we got there, Lee? Have we got anybody else waiting in the wings in our...
No, I think we've only got the Open to talk about, haven't we? And then we're pretty much done tonight.
Yeah, that takes us up, doesn't it? Right. What about the Open Championships? Who's winning the Open? Which is going to be played at Royal St George's in July. Who's winning that one?
I'm going to go...
Who's going first? Paul, go.
I'm going to go Patrick Reed.
It's
difficult to get the cameras to zoom in there as well. So.
Paul.
I've been on my best behaviour tonight, haven't I? Compared to those two. Because those two idiots, what they've been saying.
A little gold star for you tonight, Bernie. Well done, you.
No, I think he's quite fiddly around there, and I think he's got a very good short game. So I think he's got a good shout around there.
Who's played? Anyone played Royal St George's?
Yeah, I played in the British Amateur.
Yeah.
What'd you shoot?
Don't know. I made the cut, so I played all right.
It's tough, isn't it? Because it's like the fairways are very much like they're always rolling off the fairway sort of thing. Like,
apart from Carnoustie, it's the toughest course on the Open Rota for me.
Is it?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. So 2011 was the last time it was played at Royal St George's. It was due to play there last year, but obviously it got cancelled, so it's come back for this year, and it was won by Darren Clarke. But runner up was DJ in 2011 with Phil Mickelson. But DJ,
who are you going for, Will?
I was just about to change, but I'm going to go with DJ.
But DJ
Cantley.
DJ, in some ways, kind of let that one go. If you remember, he popped one out of bounds going up that par 5, I believe, going for it down the left, I think, if I remember rightly.
Strength to 2-iron, right.
Is that right? Was it? Yeah, he popped it out off the tee, wasn't it?
Might have been second shot. I know he sort of.
So it wasn't left. It wasn't off the tee, and it was a 2-iron. Yeah. So with that in mind, bearing in mind that he finished second to Darren Clark in 2011, I'm going to go with DJ. Wilbur, DJ for you.
DJ.
Bernie, who are you having?
DJ.
DJ Paul.
Patrick.
No.
Patrick Reed. James.
Mark Leishman.
Yeah, good shout. Great shout.
He wins an Open in his career. I'll bet money on that. He's such a good.
He's featured so many times, hasn't he? He lost in the playoff in St Andrews with Louis Usenhausen when Zach Johnson won it.
Yeah, he's been in contention for so many majors. Him or Brandon Grace, that's a one out of the blue, but Brandon Grace is an unbelievable win player, and he's a good shout for the Open always.
Producer Lee, who are you feeling for Royal St George's?
Keeps his form up, Spieth, I reckon.
Spieth?
I'm going to have to start watching some golf.
Well, interestingly,
I don't mind from Twitter.
I don't know about 4 players.
You don't know Spieth?
I know Spieth. He knows me, I'm sure.
Interestingly, it was one of the comments. How much golf do you guys watch? How much golf? It's clearly not a lot from Bernie for the last 10 years.
No.
Paul, you watch quite a bit of golf, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, as much as I can. Usually the evening USA stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. And James, did you sit down and watch it?
Bits and bobs. I sometimes have it on the iPad when I'm watching TV, but yeah, not masses.
Yeah. Yeah.
I prefer the pub, to be honest, in the evening. Not gonna lie. When they're open.
Yeah,
when they're open, Bernie, yeah.
No.
What even is a pub anymore?
Right. Have we got anything else that we would like to report on this show, gentlemen? Or are we wrapping this up for the evening?
We're wrapping it up. We've got 2 minutes to the hour, and we like to not go much longer than an hour.
No, we don't. Absolutely right. Absolutely right.
We're doing
right.
that.
Right, gents. Thank you very much for a great evening. Paul, thank you for the invite to your bar. It was very enjoyable.
I still haven't been served my drink yet.
I can't wait for the actual invite. I am very much looking forward to getting a beer down at your bar when we are all out of this lockdown and allowed to mingle again. That would be nice, wouldn't it? I think we might all celebrate at your bar, Paul. How about that? Should we do that? I think we'll do a live from Paul's bar.
Last time we were at Paul's bar, James' face was covered in kebab, wasn't it, James?
Yeah, I got bad experience at the Paul's bar. I won't be going there.
It was face. I had to carry him at a kebab shop. He was face down like this.
Any night out with Paul, I normally got on the next day to even talk. So
yeah. Paul does lead everybody astray, James. You're right. Absolutely right.
So,
right, gents. Thank you.
Round of golf at St Mellion, followed by a night in Paul's bar. Sounds good.
Paul's bar. Yeah. Great idea. Let's do that. Right, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Everybody, thank you very much for taking the time to watch us, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube. And as always, stay safe, and we'll catch up with you again soon.